Jack was diagnosed in 2011 with a brain tumor, and he had a couple surgeries, and then his tumor grew, so we started chemo in 2012.
That's when we began to research the drugs that they were going to give him, and what we found out is that our son was going to be taking a drug that had been around since 1982, that it was kind of a scorched earth type of chemotherapy treatment. Rather than going in and cutting down a bad tree in a forest, it would just wipe out the whole forest. You know, my wife and I just kind of looked at each other and said, why? Why are we giving our kids a drug as toxic as this that's 25 years old? And as a parent, it's inflammatory. And as a nation, we should be embarrassed that this is the best that we can do for kids who fight any form of childhood cancer, specifically pediatric brain cancer. And what we learned is that the reason there aren't better treatment options for kids is because we're just not spending money on it. We as a country have proven time and time again that the diseases that we focus on and spend money on, we can improve survival chances. We can beat diseases when we focus on it and when we spend money on it.
Foundations like Team Jack are in fact the only way we get to do what we do. That, you know, well, the NIH and the pharmaceutical companies are really focused on prostate cancer, breast cancer, colon cancer, the big adult tumors. None of them have programs for kids with these kinds of tumors, or in fact kids in general.
We decided to start raising money for research, to try to help these kids have better treatment options. So that's kind of how it started.
Basically, in 2013, Team Jack gave some of the initial money to Dana-Farber Cancer Institute, and this research has been groundbreaking. Essentially, it is one of the largest clinical trials to date for pediatric brain cancer. They looked at over 200 different tumor samples, and they got to see different genetic susceptibilities of these tumors. And that is the groundbreaking part. It's based on your individual tumor's genetic susceptibilities. That groundbreaking came out of funding from you guys, from Team Jack teammates and our foundation, and that is so awesome. From there, we are able to take quote-unquote smart drugs. There's two in particular that Team Jack funds. They target a gene called the BRAF gene, and the BRAF gene is present in about 56% of all the pediatric brain tumors. The other big thing is they're taking these tumor samples from these clinical trials, and they're not only looking at the standard genetic mutations, but the cool thing is they're looking at different potential pathways that these tumors can take. So it's like we're trying to get ahead, outsmart these tumors based on their genes.
We've now got a drug for the other 90%, and actually Team Jack was the one that actually started the national funding to allow that trial to get started. All of the other groups waited until one group was committed, and I have to say, it was incredibly honorable that they were the ones that took the lead. That trial will now go across 15 institutions around the United States, so that kids across the region can start getting therapy.
We're getting a lot of proposals from all over the United States, and even some overseas as other foundations that want to partner with us on some studies. So it's an exciting time. I think there's a lot of research that they want to do. It's just that they need funding. So we feel like that's where we can come in and make a difference.
So we went to the state legislature in 2015 with a plan, and the plan was this, that the Nebraska state legislature would contribute $1.5 million to a UNMC pediatric brain cancer program grant, but there needed to be a private match. And that's where Team Jack is. Our board met and we said we would be the matching dollars on that of $1.5 million. So together, between Team Jack and the Nebraska State Legislature, we were able to put together a $3 million package.
How do we get some of the expertise we have, for example, in Boston, here in Nebraska? And one of the things we've been doing is, while some highly specialized techniques may require travel, we think that if we can actually get pediatric neuro-oncology here and at the Omaha Center, that will be critical for kids both in Nebraska and the surrounding states to improve their care. And again, here's a kind of very forward-thinking foundation that thinks not just about developing the therapies, but making sure they're available to the population in this region.
Please help us welcome to the field 130 special guests directly impacted by pediatric brain cancer.
In my opinion, Team Jack couldn't exist in any other state. It exists because of the people of Nebraska. Nebraska is a special place,
I never imagined it would be where it is today. We just wanted to try to make a difference, and we started out small, selling T-shirts, trying to raise as much money as we could for research, and we were doing it ourselves for a little bit, but it got pretty overwhelming. And so now, thankfully we've been able to hire people to help, basically run the foundation, and it has grown so much, and we're just very thankful for what we have been able to contribute towards research.
I think what motivates me and the Team Jack Foundation are the families. Hearing their stories is, it's heartbreaking, and you hear good stories, you hear bad stories, and so we kind of hope we rewrite those stories, and one day they'll all be good. And I've met so many great families, and they're all passionate and great advocates, and so every day I think it's important that we come in and work hard for those families.
Funding research is so important because, don't forget, 4,600 new kids get diagnosed every year with a pediatric brain tumor. That's 12 families every day that have to sit down with a doctor and have a very difficult conversation. We want those conversations to not be so difficult, and we want less of those conversations. And the only way that we get to that point is keep funding.
I would say that every dollar counts and that you're making a difference. I really feel like the things that we're doing are making a difference for kids with brain tumors, and we just appreciate anything that anyone is able to give, even if it's time. So every little bit counts, and it's helpful to these kids.
The thing that I really like about our foundation is we try to have an attitude of gratitude. We are so incredibly grateful to all of our donors. We've got some amazing people that just continue to pour on support, and we're just so incredibly thankful, because without that financial support we wouldn't be able to do the kinds of things that we've been able to do. And so just thank you. That's the biggest thing that I'd like to say to any donor of ours.